kind of control over the side effects of the artificial high that they're inducing. And as I said, what you have is the brain, especially over time, making these adjustments that end up screwing you because now you don't have enough dopamine in these pathways. But you feel good because of where in your head the particular pathways happen to be that are affected by cocaine by virtue of the fact that those pathways are dopamine specific. Alcohol has a more pervasive effect, and I think it's harder to answer the question of why it makes you feel good. I think some people just want to quiet worries or anxieties, and so it's kind of like addition by subtraction, which is a phrase I really never liked, but by taking away some bad stuff, worries, and also in some ways by recreating like the infantile or the early childhood brain, like cutting down your awareness of the world because your brain just isn't working as well, particularly your cerebral cortex. By doing that, and by getting rid of this pesky editor in your prefrontal lobe, the part of your brain that kind of runs the rest of your brain and says, that's a stupid thing because they don't say that. Or, you should really feel embarrassed about what you're wearing. It's just not. That part of your brain is kind of shut down. That's my shut down sound effect. Like that. And so you're kind of loosed from all of the worries that you might otherwise have to deal with. It almost sounds like a promotion of drinking. I really think that drinking is dangerous. A lot of people are badly hurt by it. A lot of lives are ruined. This is like a public service announcement. And furthermore, some people seem to be, especially as we all know, susceptible to developing a dependence on alcohol. And here's the deal. When you mess with GABA pathways by drinking alcohol regularly and in large quantities, and then stop drinking, you're a serious alcoholic. What happens, of course, is now these inhibitory pathways, which we all need, these pathways that keep us on an even keel, don't work so well anymore because alcohol has had such an important facilitating effect and now no longer is present and the body's adapted, and now they just kind of shut down or are much less active than they need to be. And so there is this rebound in the direction opposite being inhibited and mellow and being able to calm back down, so that, as you know, perhaps, serious alcoholics, people in serious alcoholic withdrawal, are extremely agitated, sometimes see hallucinations, have the chills, feel wretchedly anxious and restless. It's a horrible, horrible kind of state to be in, and one that we should try to avoid at all costs. So the message is, once you start drinking heavily, don't stop, for crying out loud. No, I'm kidding. So, I don't know. I mean, when you mess with your nervous systems. Yeah, that's right. That's even more.
So alcohol has this effect in the brain, but it also has the effect on liver and all the toxins that it generates.
Indeed.
So when you get nauseous when you're completely shit-headed drunk, is that something to do with the brain, or is that more to do with your body detecting those toxins?
Would that I knew. I do know that if you drink enough, you start to feel dizzy because your vestibular sense is messed up because you're inhibiting that so much. You can't function right. If you take an awful lot of certain depressants like Valium or Xanax, you can experience the same side effect. So they say, not quite as commonly, it seems to me, as if you drink a ton. So all kinds of bad things happen when you drink. I mean, not to proselytize, but just not good for you. Just not really good for your body, and it's not good for your nervous system, as I keep saying, to drink heavily and regularly. It's just not. You're playing with fire. Like brandy on fire. It's kind of that kind of fire.
So SSRIs work on serotonin the same way cocaine works on dopamine?
Nathan has seen a disturbing parallel here. That's right. Yeah, SSRIs operate on the same kind of principle. I'm looking here.
SSRI.
A selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. Something that seems to affect primarily pathways that use serotonin as their medium of communication. Yeah, and there are a ton of them. Serotonin does a lot of the same things as dopamine. I'm not going to claim to be an expert on the brain because I sure am not. With me, it's more about observable behavior. But if you're down on serotonin in certain parts of your brain, I'm going to say, just think here, certain parts of the thalamus, perhaps, regulating emotion, and other parts of your brain, you're not going to feel so good. Not having enough serotonin causes people often to experience depressive symptoms, restlessness, anxiety. Sometimes people who are chronically anxious aren't struggling with dopamine deficits or some kind of GABA deficit. They have an insufficiency of serotonin. Matter of fact, empirically, it seems like a lot of people suffer from depression, at least in part because of inadequate supplies of serotonin. I say empirically because when you give them drugs that are known to increase the amount of serotonin at the synapse by the same kind of mechanism as cocaine, they feel better. They feel a lot better. Now the question is, what happens if you take Paxil, as a friend of mine has, for years and years and years and years and years? Is there the same kind of development of tolerance as there would be if you snorted cocaine for years and years and years and years? I don't think anybody really knows for sure, but there is some concern over the occurrence of tolerance, or the development of a tolerance and even a dependency on Paxil, and that's really an interesting topic for discussion and research. Understandably, I think pharmaceutical companies aren't really keen on discovering that kind of an effect. That would not be good. But I'm raising questions in my own mind as to whether maybe that's the case.
Yeah,
Pretty
I've
serious.
taken 60 milligrams of Paxil, but I was down to 2.5, and I was going down to 0. I was thinking that this wasn't, that I'd been on 2.5 for a week, so I wasn't thinking that would be there wouldn't be any effect to just drop down to 0, but it was probably pretty serious for me. It was nauseous.
You could feel the effects.
I could feel the effects, so.
Which we would kind of generally term withdrawal.
Right.
What's Paxil do?
It's necessary.
It causes there to be more serotonin in certain parts of your brain, synapses. That's really interesting. So the goal is to wean off it entirely, or?
Yeah, I'm off it now.
Oh, good. But you couldn't do it rapidly.
No.
High five.
Well, that's good. And that's
Wow.
interesting information.
Nice.
How are we on time?
We'll look behind you.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? This is really lecture. Tomorrow will not be lecture. I
Good.
give you my word.
Can we play a game where
Marshmallow
each
test.
person's
Marshmallow test.
like a molecule or something?
I thought about that.
And you attach
It
yourself to
gets really
somebody's back.
complicated, though.
Yeah.
The nervous system is amazingly intricate. Would that I were an expert on it and could tell you all kinds of wonderful and dark secrets about it, but that's not my area of specialization. However, I encourage all of you guys to read up on it as much as you want to, and one of the best sources of information about it, besides the textbook and besides other texts, I think, is animations such as this one that are created by people who teach about the nervous system. They make everything, I think, a lot more accessible. Also, I think it's useful, if you have any interest in it at all, to read more of the kind of descriptions as you did over the summer when you read The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat. Case studies are really fascinating, not because you necessarily can draw broad generalizations from them, but because they give insights into all of the different functions that are overseen, regulated, and run by the nervous system. Yeah. That's how Oliver Sacks rolls. Maybe that's how we should roll. This is a sleepy Tuesday morning.